So, lads, we are witnessing I actually just can't believe this. I'm just sitting here like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that this is going to keep going on. At this rate, like, Mick Talks Hoops might be the number one drama channel on the damn internet at this stage. Might be number one news source on the internet if this keeps happening. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We're trying to hit 31.7k by the end of the day. Lads, we're booming right now, and a lot of it is caused by Sheryl Swoopes. And I will say this, Nancy Lieberman was right. The only person that can stop this is Sheryl Swoopes. Like, the only person that can stop this is Sheryl Swoopes. But Sheryl Swoopes decided to tweet out this. So someone tweets that people are basically, anytime someone says anything negative about Sheryl Swoopes goes on the attack to the person. So someone's like, one more thing. Let's not forget Nancy Lieberman said about Kennedy Carter. We all heard it. I ain't going to say what I really think of Stephen A. Best believe when it comes to Sheryl Swoopes' defense, I'm being nice, so don't try me. If I were Caitlin Clark, I would have punched her in the face. I would have told her to F off. That is not saying that... But like, I'm sorry, if somebody gets you from behind, how many people would have turned around and punched them in the face? I'm sorry, if Kennedy Carter did that to Taurasi gets up, runs after Kennedy Carter and punches her in the face. Like, I'm sorry, Nancy Lieberman's not the only person that would have done that. But like, it is what it is. If someone came to your job out of nowhere and hip checked you to the ground, what are you doing? It was no problem what Kennedy did, but if she would have gotten stole off, would have been justified. And you all be mad about stuff. It wasn't about the hip check. You missed the whole point of the post. Like, what? What? And then Sheryl Swoopes. Stephen A., you forgot to ask her about this. She addressed it. You didn't listen to the whole interview. Nancy, dirty player. I need to find this. 20 seconds later. I'm not joking. Within 20 seconds.
The Kennedy Carter thing happened, and I'm doing Michelle Beadle's podcast with Lou Williams and Chandler Parsons. And Michelle says to me, Nancy, what would you tell Caitlin Clark in that situation? And I said to Michelle, look, I'm not here to speak for Caitlin Clark. I'm not going to tell you that. Then she said, what would you do if somebody kind of blindsided you like that? And you know me, I'm straight from New York, straight from Rucker Park. I said, I would have gotten up. I would have walked up to whoever did that to me. I would have punched him in the face, and you know the expletive that I used. And I would have said, F off. That is who I am. That is the concentric circle of who I am. And that's my era. And so to her point, Teresa Weatherspoon called me, my dear friend, who I love, respect, and admire. She said, Nancy, I was disappointed what you said. And we had a conversation. And I said, Spoon, I didn't say she should punch Kennedy Carter in her face. I said, this is what I would do if I were blindsided. And I've known Kennedy since she was in high school here.
And that is the funniest part about all this, is that this whole point was the literal next sentence after her saying, I called Teresa Weatherspoon about this, and she got really angry on the phone, and we haven't spoken since. And then went on to make a further point that Teresa Weatherspoon was annoyed about what she said about Kennedy Carter, and that they had a phone call, and they both obviously explained their sides, and that talking about how her and Teresa Weatherspoon are still friends, and then basically her saying that her and Sheryl Swoopes are not friends because she dared to question Sheryl Swoopes. And I'm sorry, the people defending Sheryl Swoopes, you look dumb. Like, you actually do. And I don't care. Like, Sheryl Swoopes is a legend. And I mean that. Sheryl Swoopes is an absolute legend of the game of basketball. But I mean this. Sheryl Swoopes has crashed out, and this is what her legacy is going to be. They actually spoke about it. It's obvious you didn't listen. For someone whose first defense is, did you even listen to the whole podcast? And the best thing about the Stephen A. Smith one is everyone's like, yes, we did listen to the whole podcast. You're embarrassing. Watch full episodes before running to Twitter. They quite literally talked about this. Sheryl Swoopes using, did you even listen to the whole podcast? When people did listen to the whole podcast. Man, she actually thinks that because it worked with Elle Duncan, she actually thinks that once, you've got to be leaving Crash Out of the Year. Watching you crash out has been so fun. She actually spoke about this, but again, you can't get any facts straight. And the funniest part is she actually didn't say anything wrong here. If I were Caitlin, I would have punched her in the face. Like, that's nothing wrong. That's not saying, again, The fact that Caitlin Clark didn't do that and probably wouldn't do that is a testament again to Caitlin Clark probably being the bigger person in this situation. But like, I'm sorry, retaliate. We live in a world where everyone's like, oh, you need to stand up for yourself. Like, she needs an enforcer because she can't stand up for herself. And Nancy Lieberman is somebody who basically said, no, I would have stood up for myself. And they have an issue with that as well. No, this is not about what Nancy Lieberman said. This is about the messenger. And this is about blind support for Sheryl Swoopes. And look, I was willing to give Sheryl Swoopes the benefit of the doubt, but like, this is awful. This is absolutely awful. And look, Nancy Lieberman is no saint. She is absolutely no saint. But the difference is that she's not crying victim every single time anything goes against her. She's not crying victim. She's not attacking other people. The one thing she said about Sheryl Swoopes was she's not, actually going out of her way to attack other people for just as a personality-wise. Whereas, at least when it comes to Nancy Lieberman, she is attacking the words said by Sheryl Swoopes. She's not going after Sheryl Swoopes' character. She's going after what she has done. Whereas Sheryl Swoopes and the people supporting Sheryl Swoopes are trying to go after Nancy Lieberman's character. Like, you've seen it. Like, they have not mentioned what Sheryl Swoopes did at Loyola. None of these people in the media have mentioned that. But, like, you better believe Sheryl Swoopes is retweeting things about what happened when Nancy Lieberman was a coach for the Detroit Shock, when she was a player and got into a fight on the court. But at the same time, like, praising a Diana Taurasi, who is as much of a cheap shot artist as there's been in sports. I don't know. Like, I was always willing to give Sheryl Swoopes the benefit of the doubt. And look, you can always separate Sheryl Swoopes the player from Sheryl Swoopes the person. I think it's completely fine to separate Sheryl Swoopes the player and Sheryl Swoopes the person. Yeah, like, it is what it is. That's just the unfortunate truth of it all, is that she won't stop. She won't stop at all. Like, she is going to continue to attack anyone that goes against her personally. She's going to continue to try make points that make no sense. And there's never going to be an apology. And there's never going to be... She doesn't even need to apologize. She just needs to stop going on the attack when she is in the wrong. And that's the thing. Again, Nancy Lieberman, not a saint. Even if you can say she's in the wrong here. If you want to argue, this is all in the to the eye of the beholder. Is this in the wrong or not? But she at least explained her reasoning for this. Sheryl Swoopes will hide behind Twitter and accuse everyone of being racist towards her. That's just... Well, sorry. I need to really be careful with my words. Not accuse, imply everyone is. Sorry, I very much need to choose my words here. Because obviously if you misspeak even slightly, Sheryl Swoopes is going to try to discredit an entire point based on that. But yeah, this is the crash out of the year right now. And you know what? Thank you, Sheryl Swoopes, because right now you're paying my damn mortgage.